I believe I can confidently say that I achieved the dream and I can live off music. Most likely not in the way that you think of, but I want to share my experience with the bad stuff and the good stuff that got me to the place I am. Hear me out. One of the videos that I have here in the channel, I'm telling the story on how I got into music and music production. You can imagine that it was my dream to work with music, probably be the kind of musician that goes out on tours, records albums, and have fans and stuff like that. But that's not how my story ended, or ended is not the best term, but that's not how my story went. Because even though some people might think that being an artist recognized globally is the only way to make it in music, in this video, this is what I want to make you think differently, probably, using my own story as the example, because I do consider I made it in music, but not as being an artist, releasing albums and stuff like this. Not even being a guitarist, famous YouTuber or something like that. Actually, what I am doing is software engineering within a music company. Before I tell you anything about how I got to the job that I consider now that I made it in music, I think I need to tell you about the moment in life where I felt completely out of balance and nothing was clicking for me. Because there was this specific period where I left my home country, Brazil, to live abroad in Germany. And in Germany, I was not participating on any bands. I was not involved on any musical project. I was not doing music. I was almost not even playing guitar at all. And at the same time, in tech, I was not working with anything related to music. And I was not working in businesses that were making me feel some sense of belonging or some sense that I was actually doing something useful for people or contributing to grow, or I don't know. There was no reason for me to do what I was doing in specific places. And this kind of made me die inside, like not playing, not participating in bands, not being involved in music. And at the same time, the job that I was doing to put food on the table, to have my salary and to survive, also was not something that was speaking to me in any personal level. So that was a very depressing moment for me. It was a very tough moment even for me. And eventually I had to do something about it. So the first step that I took was to try to get any band or to be or to play in any band. So I used the app called Vamper. And in this app, I was able to find a band to play. Later, I can talk more specifically about this app, how I got the band, how was the experience, etc. But anyways, I used Vamper. I started participating in this band. Then I also saw that Point Blank Music had a music production college that was online. And I did the training. It was a 3-year training. So with these two things, I reinserted music in my life, and I was slowly again playing more guitar, slowly again composing more music because of the exercises in Point Blank, or because of some things I was interested in making for myself. And eventually, I also did a mentorship on game audio with a guy called Thiago Adamo. Thiago, grande abraço para você. But I did this game audio mentorship as well to understand how music for games was made. This is another story I can talk in details in another video. But I was slowly making my life have a lot of music context again outside of my working hours. And exactly because I was inserting music in my life again a lot, then I started feeling even more that the job I had as a software engineer in places that were not related to music didn't make sense. So eventually I got a job at SoundCloud. I was working in the payments team in SoundCloud. And that was a very first good step towards making my entire day music related. My job was music related. The things I was doing outside of the job were music related. Weekends, I was also playing with the band, sometimes doing shows, etc. So slowly I was making things make more sense and be completely music related. So eventually, I also left SoundCloud to start working for BandLab as a contractor, and things evolved in a way that I ended up moving from Germany to Singapore, and I work for BandLab here in Singapore, inside the creation team, doing music-related things, and this is the way slowly I've made my life entirely driven by music-related topics. And I think this is where you should think for yourself. What do you want in your life, and how music can maybe signify something in your life that probably not just the traditional path of being an artist, recording albums, releasing albums, and playing shows is the only way to making music. There's probably something you didn't think of. By the way, the concept that I'm trying to give you through this video is not something that I created or something magical. I actually learned about this idea that music industry is not just the traditional artist path through a book written by a guitarist called Kiko Loureiro. He wrote a book called Negócios para Criativos. It's Business for Creatives, if I translate literally. Kiko Loureiro is one of the guitarists that played in Megadeth, but he also is the founder of a band called Angra. And he's a famous artist, played worldwide, made big shows, big festivals, but he's very savvy in terms of business, career, and music industry, copyrights, and things like that. So in his book, the idea that I learned is, if you want to work in music and you want to make it in music, first and foremost, you need to think, what does that mean for you? Because music industry has a lot of ways to be inside, to be doing something to get money from or pay money to. You can be in a music store being someone that sells instruments and sells gear and you're the specialist, or you can be in the movie business and be the composer for movies and for advertising, or you can be in the game industry and be the composer for video games, be the person that does the audio effects or the person that does the music, or you can be the person that is making the voices of the characters. There's so many ways of achieving things inside the music industry. And this is the main concept that you need to reflect, and you need to think if there's anything right now in your skill set that you can apply into an area that the music industry is related to. It doesn't necessarily need to be you being a music producer or you being an artist that releases songs, but maybe you are working in the studio. And in this studio, some people go to rehearse. Or maybe you become a specialist in instruments and you become the tech that follows artists in tours, and you are doing the maintenance of the equipment and you're helping out setting up the stages. Or maybe you're a specialist audio engineer specialist and you're going to do front of house, or you're going to do recordings in TV shows, in theaters and operas. And there's so many ways for you to think of the music industry, which is not just releasing your own music and maybe collecting copyright money from that music, or money from shows that you sell and things like this. This is what I would insist so much for you to think of. Maybe you do have a skill set already that it's applicable to music, and you're not trying because you're still stuck in the idea that you need to be an artist that plays shows and sells your music only. I said in the beginning of the video that I'm making music, but I still have some plans. If you think about this YouTube channel, I am sometimes playing guitar, I am sometimes doing gear reviews. This video specifically, I'm talking to you and give you some concepts for you to maybe making music as well. So I'm covering one side that is more artistic, kind of, and I have another YouTube channel that is focused in tech, but that channel will be also music related because I want to be a specialist in digital signal processing and audio programming. So anything that I learn about those topics and the projects that I create or the things that I'm studying, I will share in that other channel. And with this, I'm surrounding myself with more topics outside of my working hours, my 9 to 5 at BandLab, that are music related and most likely will contribute to me being in the place I want to be in the industry, and at the same time having enough money to sustain myself, sustain my family, and be happy in the end. So I want to know from you, what do you think of everything that I said? Leave me your thoughts in the comments section. But for now, thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.